So you may have noticed that this episode has taken a lot longer to produce than the other episodes in this series, and that's for a variety of reasons. One of them is that I have inevitably exited the euphoric stage at the beginning of every project where you want nothing more than to work on that project. So now I have to find motivation to work on this project like everything else. But we also ran into some major hiccups in the production of this episode. So I want to go ahead and take this episode to just go back and explain exactly what happened. So let's go. If you've lived on planet Earth for the past few months, you've probably heard of Among Us. You may have also seen various people recreate the game in real life, but their renditions are always missing crucial game elements. Now, two high school students with almost no development experience are attempting to one-up them using technology. This is real life Among Us, but it's completely decked out with tech and stuff. Mental blocks are difficult. As of recording, it's been about 2 weeks since I wrote my last line of code on the back end and realized that I couldn't do much more without a front end. And I have not seen a single commit pushed to the front end branch of Git. And it's a little bit problematic, and I've been investigating why. And it seems that Ezra has a sort of mental block when it comes to writing the front end, because he's never coded in JavaScript before. He's never coded in React before. So what I can only imagine is happening is that he is sitting down at his computer wanting to code and just gets overwhelmed. And this has happened to me before too, where I'll sit down and I want to do something and I'll just get overwhelmed, having no idea what to do or where to start. And that just results in a complete lack of motivation to actually work on anything. So I'm trying to figure out how can I, as a friend and as a collaborator, best support him as he overcomes this mental block. So, it's time to start work on the front end. So I should probably walk you through what I've done in the back end so far.
Yeah.
Right? And just kind of give you a rough idea of how it works, just to get us on the same page, if you get what I mean, right? So let's go ahead and let me pull up the code. You can see this, right?
Yeah, let me get into full screen.
Here's what we got. Essentially, I've got a node project, right?
Yeah.
And I've got a node project within the node project, which is the client. So the client's going to be supplying all of the assets and all of the...
Okay, so we have... These two are both... Wait, the client server... The... Are we talking about different things? I'm kind of confused.
So, let me explain.
So we've got we're making the WebSocket connection, and it gives a string with the WebSocket, and that string contains if it's. I'm just working on the player, so it's going to return a string that says player or whatever.
So, when you're connecting to a WebSocket. Essentially, The way it works under the hood in socket.io does expose some of this, so you can use it. Essentially... So,
over the next few days, I'm going to try to get the socket to, or at least figure out how to construct the JSON to send as the tag.
Yeah, cool. Alright, I'd say that meeting went pretty well. It's definitely good to be on the same page as Ezra again. Now I still don't quite have enough resources to start work on the server code again, but I hope to be there to support Ezra as he creates the client code, and hopefully soon we'll be in a place where I can start writing server code again and the client code can be written simultaneously so we can test off each other. So, yay. Alright, so it's been another week or so, or not quite a week, about 5 days, as indicated by my shorter hair, and I'm at this point starting to get very worried, because while I've been talking to Ezra a bit, and he says he's working through the tutorials and stuff, it's been a really long time, and like, I get where he's going from. I get where he's coming from. He's in a situation where he's essentially, he's sitting down to work on it and getting completely overwhelmed by all the different stuff React has to offer. He hasn't even done JavaScript yet. And I get it, and I sympathize with him. I also understand that this is the type of project where a hiatus of work like this can kill the entire thing. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do at this point. I want him to continue working on it. I feel like if he got past his mental block, he would do great. And as a friend, I really want to help him with that. But I know that I have to keep the longevity of the project in account. So I don't know. I'll give it another couple days. If nothing happens, I'll start trying to learn it myself and maybe get started on the client to the point where I can continue working on the back end and continue getting work done and not just sit here with nothing happening for weeks. Yeah. So it's been another couple days. I've been completely overwhelmed with stuff. The Origin Realms Alpha dropped. That was a huge deal. And Ezra officially stepped down from the project. I think he's just a little bit in over his head, or that's what he tells me. And now I'm stuck with a decision. Do I spend my time trying to find someone else who can join the project and take his place, or do I do everything myself? This is tricky. This is really tricky, and this is the type of stuff that you run into with projects like this. Because I don't know React. The reason I was doing the back end was because I know Node pretty well, because I've done a back end before. Or not pretty well, I'm still a relative beginner, but at least I've used it before. And Ezra was gonna, while I was kind of figuring out the front end stuff, Ezra was gonna learn the basics of React and do the back end. He has now not done that, so... And it makes perfect sense. I understand. This happens to me all the time. I think I can do a project. I see something else and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then I realize, oh crap, I am not at all ready to do this. And I personally feel ready to take on the back end at least of Among Us IRL. But now I'm stuck with doing the front end as well, so... I guess the best course of action right now is for me to start following some React tutorials and see if I can at least get a start on the front end myself. Maybe then Ezra will come back on, seeing as he's not just looking at a blank canvas and getting overwhelmed by it. And yeah, I guess. Alright, so it's been a few days since I recorded that last session. I've started learning React and I think it's going pretty well, though that's a story for another episode. As usual, the repo that we're actively working out of is in the description, so if you want to check that out, if you feel like you have something to contribute, maybe contribute to it, that would be much appreciated. And we've actually started a Discord server for this project, since it seems that there's been a large number of interest in it. A large number of interest. That makes sense. There's been a lot of interest in the project among my various communities, so we started a centralized Discord server, so a link to that will also be in the description. And I guess that's all I have to say for today. So comment, rate, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Yes, bringing back the old outro. Bye.